am Max Tracy. I'm the Burlington City Council President, and I just want to welcome everyone to the Irish Heritage Festival. We're certainly excited that you all are able to celebrate the rich cultural and historic traditions of Irish folks in our community this year and keeping that tradition alive. It's very, very exciting. People of Irish ancestry have had significant impacts on our community from the earliest time that they were really coming to Burlington in larger numbers, starting in the 1830s and 40s, up through the 19th century and well into the 20th century and today, impacting in significant ways the composition of our neighborhoods. I know that, for instance, in my neighborhood, the Old North End, we had significant Irish settlement with the area, particularly around what is currently Acme Glass being an area with significant Irish settlement. There was also significant political and religious implications with Irish folks bringing Roman Catholicism in much larger part to Burlington, and then also significantly playing, as they became more involved in the community, playing a significant role in politics, having significant numbers of Irish aldermen and Irish mayors like Jim Burke, who was mayor in the early 20th century. So we see that impact playing out throughout Burlington history in really interesting ways, and we see those contributions playing out even though you don't see as much of the ethnic kind of composition of neighborhoods that tended to wither over the course of the 20th century when you started to see the ethnic boundaries, specifically around European immigration, kind of fall away as the century went on. But you still see in so many ways those really meaningful and important cultural traditions and that cultural heritage playing an important role in the development of our community over time. And so that's why I'm really glad that folks are continuing to celebrate those traditions and really keeping them alive, especially despite the challenges of this past year, and that you all are not able to be in person in the way that you normally would be. So I just want to thank you all for celebrating and continuing to keep this piece of Burlington's history and this piece of our culture as a city alive. I think it's really exciting to see that, and I just want to wish everybody a great time in celebrating Irish heritage here in Burlington.
I want to thank Max for doing our virtual ribbon cutting ceremony for this year's Ceilidh. And I want to welcome everyone to the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival St. Patrick's Day finale. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. I'm Jim Shields. I'm the president of the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival Committee. Really, it's a group of us who put this together every year. And this year we had a special challenge when we couldn't be together live. So we've had about 5 days of events, and some pre-recorded and some live, and we've had some great times. I'm not going to talk too much, just other than to kind of introduce the program. I just want to make a few announcements. First of all, we are recording the event so that we can put it up later on. We'll have it on our Facebook page and our website for people who, in our YouTube channel. BurlingtonIrishHeritage.org is our email or our website address if you want to check it out later. So that's why we're recording. And I also want to tell you that this is a webinar format. So the good news is there's no cameras or microphones for the audience members. You're muted. So you can literally dance and sing like nobody's watching, because nobody's watching. On the other hand, on the screen here, you're going to see a collection of pre-recorded videos recorded recently and submitted for the festival, interspersed with some live artists who are going to be performing for us music, poetry, dance, song tonight. So sit back and enjoy and have a great St. Patrick's Day. And we'll start with an awesome set from the Zeichner Trio.
Hi everyone, we're the Zeichner Trio from Central Vermont, and we're here to play for you for the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival online. I'm Yazi, and this is Oliver on the pipes and Luli on the harp. And we will start off with a couple of Luli's current favorite slip jigs, A Fig for a Kiss and A Kid on the Mountain. And now we will go on, and Oliver and I will play something. Oliver will play a reel on the pipes, and I will dance a few old style Chanos steps. Goes like this.
Okay. So I thought I'd play a reel called Master Crowley's because recently a friend of ours and a very fine Irish flute player, Jim Curtin, passed away, and so we're very sorry to not have him with us anymore. And this was he always liked to play the reels, and I'm probably not going to play it as fast as he would, but I'll play them at the speed Yazzie dances at. I guess it's just one tune, so I'll play it the speed you dance at. How's it go again? Okay.
Do you want to introduce the next?
Sure. So next, we are going to play a piece which was composed by the famous Irish harper Turlough O'Carolan, who was born in the late 1600s. So the piece we're playing is called Planxty Number 12, and it was actually discovered a couple years ago in the thatch of a cottage. And I first heard Benedict Kohler and Hilary Farrington play it at the O'Carolan Festival in Worcester, Vermont, a couple years ago. So here it is for you.
And we will follow it with a reel called Over the Moor to Maggie, which sounds like it could be a descendant of the Carolan tune. All right, everybody. We hope that you watch other videos from the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival and that you have a great St. Patty's Day and a great springtime. Bye.
All right, a wonderful set from the Zeichner Trio. And to continue the awesome music, and we're also going to continue the family theme. We're going to hear some dulcimer music from multi-instrumental musician Mary Ann Samuels, who's going to play some Hemmer dulcimer for us. And looking forward to that. We'll follow that with a video of some poetry read by the members of Hanley, and then we'll return to hear Andy Naughton, a song from Andy Naughton. So thanks for coming to the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival finale. And I also want to remind people that you can use the Q&A feature or the chat if you want to let us know what you're thinking about the music or if you have any questions for anyone. So please use that and share your thoughts with the musicians about their amazing music and performances.
So all right, I'll just tell a little bit about what I'm going to do. It was so great to hear the Zeichners just now, and what wonderful music. And it makes me miss the groups of people I haven't been able to play with in the past year. I usually play with a group called Full Circle, where we have recorders, tin whistle, harp, and hammer dulcimer. But this last summer, the harp player and I decided we would get together for outdoor venues. So we played in several venues outdoors, and we put together a program of Turlough O'Carolan music. And so it was nice to hear the one Turlough O'Carolan and hear a little of his background. And now I'm going to play a set of 3 pieces on the hammer dulcimer. The first one is called Blind Mary. The second is Hewlett. And the third is Fanny Power. So here we go. And I'll just say I've decided that I would show the dulcimer, so you won't see my face, but you will see the dulcimer from the back. Thank you. And you'll hear Andy, my husband, in a few minutes.
Yes, thank you, Marianne. That was lovely. So we're going to hear some poetry, and then, like I said, it's all family night tonight. We're going to hear from O'Hanley, and then back to hear Andy sing a little bit for us. So thank you. Thanks for being patient as we flip over to different, back and forth from live to
Hi, we're Tom and Cindy from the band O'Hanley, and we've put our instruments down for a little while now. We're going to venture into the world of Irish poetry. Ireland is known for wearing their emotions on their sleeve and express themselves, all their passions, all their sorrows in poetry. And we're going to start off going way back to 500 BC with Amergin, one of the Milesians who were part of the Celtic settlement of Ireland. I invoke the land of Erin. much coursed by the fertile sea. Fertile be the fruit-strewn mountains, fruit-strewn be the fertile wood. Showery be the river of waterfalls be the lake of deep pools. Deep pooled be the hilltop well, a well of tribes be the assembly. An assembly of kings be Tara, Tara be a hill of tribes. The tribes of the sons of Mil of the ships, the barks. Let the lofty bark be Aaron, let lofty Aaron darkly sung by dark Aber's incantation, an incantation of great cunning. Great cunning of the wines of Brez, the great lady Aaron. Araman hath conquered her, ere Aber have invoked her. I invoke the land of Aaron.
So we have quite a passion for poetry, and the poetry of Ireland is so intertwined with its history and its culture. And as Tom started this off with the poem from Amergin, from the ancient times invoking Ireland, that theme of a poet saying, I am Ireland, continued on right through the present day, and we'll have a few samples of that for you now. This first one is by an anonymous author, written in about 913. It's just a single stanza that was probably a marginal poem written by someone. It's attributed to just an Anglo-Irish minstrel of the 14th century. Yeats then picked it up in a poem that I'll read shortly. I am of Ireland, and of the holy land of Ireland. God, sir, pray with ye for the saint charity. Come and dance with me in Ireland.
Padraig Pearse, the school teacher, the historian, the great lover of Ireland, the poet, he who loved Ireland's freedom and aspired to that, wrote a number of poems about that. And this is one of his most effective, short as it is. Mishira, older am I than the hag of Bear. Great my glory, I who bore brave Cuchulainn. Great my shame, my own family who sold their mother.
William Butler Yeats picked up that earlier theme of I am Ireland and wrote a poem of that name called I Am of Ireland. I am of Ireland and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity, come dance with me in Ireland. One man alone in that outlandish gear, one solitary man of all that rambled there, had turned his stately head. That is a long way off, and time runs on, he said, and the night grows rough. I am of Ireland and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity and dance with me in Ireland. The fiddlers are all thumbs, or the fiddle string accursed. The drums and the kettle drums and the trumpets are all burst. And the trombone, cried he, the trumpet and trombone, and cocked a malicious eye. But time runs on, runs on. I am of Ireland and the holy land of Ireland, and time runs on, cried she. Come out of charity and dance with me in Ireland. So the bardic tradition of poetry is rich in Ireland, and there are, as you might imagine, quite a few poems written about the bards and by them about their own craft. And Tom is going to read to you now the one of Rafferty the poet.
Antoine Rafferty was a poet and a bard around the late 18th, early 19th centuries in Ireland. He was blind, and he would travel about the countryside reciting his poetry, playing his music. And this is one of his poems called I Am Rafferty. I am Rafferty the poet, full of hope and love, with eyes without light, gentleness without misery. Going west on my way by the light of my heart, feeble and tired to the end of my road. Behold me now, and my face to the wall, playing music for empty pockets.
Here's another poem about the bard that's also a national poem, written by Thomas Moore, and you may know many of Thomas Moore's poems as the lyrics to songs like The Minstrel Boy and Believe Me If All Those Endearing Young Charms and The Harp That Once in Terrace Hall. But this is a poem that, to my knowledge, has not been put to music, called O Blame Not the Bard. O blame not the bard if he flies to the bowers which pleasure lies carelessly smiling at fame. He was born for much more, and in happier hours his soul might have burned with a holier flame. The string that now languishes loose over the lyre might have bent a bright bow to the warrior's dart, and the lip which now breathes but the song of desire might have poured the full tide of the patriot's heart. But alas, for his country her pride is gone by, and that spirit is broken which never would bend, or the ruin her children in secret must sigh, for 'tis treason to love her, yet death to defend. Unprized are her sons till they've learned to betray, undistinguished they live if they shame not their sires, and the torch that would light them through dignity's ways must be caught from the pile where their country expires. Then blame not the bard if, in pleasure's soft dream, he should try to forget what he never can heal. Oh, give but a hope, let a vista but gleam through the gloom of his country, and mark how he'd feel. That instant his heart at her shrine would lay down, every passion it nursed, every bliss it adored, while the myrtle, now idly entwined with his crown, like the wreath of Harmodius, should cover his sword. But though glory be gone, and though hope fade away, thy name, loved Erin, shall live in his songs. Not even in the hour when his heart is most gay will he lose the remembrance of thee and thy wrongs. The stranger shall hear thy lament on his plains. The sigh of the harp shall be sent o'er the deep, till thy masters themselves, as they rivet thy chains, shall pause at the song of their captive and weep. Another common theme in classic Irish poetry is that of leaving Ireland and traveling, but always, the heart always seeking home. This is a poem written by Francis Mahoney, known as Father Prout, who lived from 1804 to 1866, and wrote a goodly number of very beautiful poems, and this one really struck my heart as that longing for home. It's called The Shandon Bells. And those are the bells, of course, in St. Anne's Church in Cork. With deep affection and recollection, I often think of those Shandon bells, whose sounds so wild would, in the days of childhood, fling round my cradle their magic spells. On this I ponder wherever I wander, and thus grow fonder, sweet Cork, of thee, with thy bells of Shandon that sound so grand on the pleasant waters of the River Lee. I've heard bells chiming full many a clime tolling sublime in cathedral shrines, while at a glib rate brass tongues would vibrate, but all their music spoke not like thine. For memory dwelling on each proud swelling of the belfry knelling its bold notes free, made the bells of Shandon sound far more grand on the pleasant waters of the River Lee. I've heard bells tolling old Adrian's mole in the thunder rolling from the Vatican, and cymbals glorious swinging uproarious in the gorgeous turrets of Notre Dame. But thy sounds were sweeter than the dome of Peter flings over the Tiber, pealing solemnly. Oh, the bells of Shandon sound far more grand on the pleasant waters of the River Lee. There's a bell in Moscow with a tower and kiosk, oh, and Saint Sophia the Turkman gets, and loud in air calls men to prayer from the tapering summits of tall minarets. Such empty phantom I freely grant them, but there is an anthem more dear to me. 'Tis the bells of Shandon that sound so grand on the pleasant waters of the River Lee.
The Rising of 1916 had a great effect on the poet Yeats, as it did on many Irish, especially after the summary executions of the Irish rebels. And after that happened, he wrote this poem called Easter 1916. I have met them at the close of day, coming with vivid faces, from counter or desk among gray 18th century houses. I have passed with a nod of the head or polite meaningless words, or have lingered a while and said polite meaningless words, and thought before I had done of a mocking tale or a jibe to please a companion around the fire at the club, being certain that they and I but lived where motley is worn. All changed, changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. That woman's days were spent in ignorant goodwill, her nights in argument, until her voice grew shrill. What voice more sweet than her, when young and beautiful she rode to harriers? This man had kept a school and rode our winged horse. This other, his helper and friend, was coming into his force. He might have won fame in the end, so sensitive his nature seemed, so daring and sweet his thought. This other man I had dreamed, a drunken, vainglorious lout, he had done most bitter wrong to some who are near my heart. Yet I number him in the song. He too has resigned his part in the casual comedy. He too has been changed in his turn, transformed utterly. A terrible beauty is born. Hearts with one purpose alone, through summer and winter seem enchanted to a stone, to trouble the living stream. The horse that comes from the road, the rider, the birds that range from cloud to tumbling cloud, minute by minute change. A shadow of cloud on the stream changes minute by minute. A horse hoof slides on the brim, and a horse splashes within it, where long-legged mournheads dive, and hens to moorcocks call. Minute by minute they live, the stones in the midst of it all. Too long a sacrifice can make a stone of the heart. Oh, when may it suffice? That is heaven's part, our part, to murmur name upon name, as a mother names her child, when sleep at last has come on limbs that had run wild. What is it but nightfall? No, not night, but death. Was it needless death after all? For England may keep faith for all that is said and done. We know their dream, enough to know they dreamed and are dead. But what if excess of love bewildered them till they died? I write it out in verse, MacDonough and McBride, Connolly and Pierce. Now when a time to be, wherever green is worn, are changed, changed utterly. A terrible beauty is born.
Continuing with those poems about 1916, I'll read you Patrick Pearse's The Rebel. I come of the seed of the people that sorrow, that have no treasure but hope, no riches laid up but a memory of an ancient glory. My mother bore me in bondage my mother was born, I am the blood of serfs. The children with whom I have played, the men and women with whom I have eaten, have had masters over them. They have been under the lash of masters, and though gentle, have served Charles. The hands that have touched mine, the dear hands whose touch is familiar to me, have worn shameful manacles, have been bitten at the wrist by manacles, have grown hard with the manacles and the taskwork of strangers. I am flesh of the flesh of these lowly, I am bone of their bone, I have never submitted. I that have a soul greater than the souls of my people's masters, I have vision and prophecy and the gift of fiery speech. I that have spoken with God on the top of his holy hill, and because I am of the people, I understand the people. I am sorrowful with their sorrow. I am hungry with their desire. My heart has been heavy with the grief of mothers. My eyes have been wet with the tears of children. I have yearned with old wistful men and laughed or cursed with young men. Their shame is my shame, and I have reddened for it. Reddened for that they have gone in want while others have been full. Reddened for that they have walked in fear of lawyers and of their jailers, with their writs of summons and their handcuffs, men mean and cruel. I could have borne stripes on my body rather than the shame of my people. I say to my people that they are holy, that they are august despite their chains, that they are greater than those who hold them, and stronger and purer, that they have put need of courage, and to call on the name of their God, God the unforgetting, the dear God that loves the people, for whom he died naked, suffering shame. And I say to my people's masters, beware. Beware of the thing that is coming. Beware of the risen people, who shall take what you would not give. Did you think to conquer the people, or that law is stronger than life, and than men's desire to be free? We will try it out with you, ye that have harried and held, ye that have bullied and bribed, tyrants, hypocrites, liars.
One of the martyrs of 1916 was Joseph Mary Plunkett, a poet, an educated man, but at the time dying of tuberculosis. Before his execution, he was brought into Kilmainham jail, and that evening, or in the morning, he wedded his fiancée Grace. But while locked in his cell, he composed this poem. I see his blood upon the rose. I see his blood upon the rose, and in the stars the glory of his eyes. His body gleams amid eternal snows, his tears fall from the skies. I see his face in every flower. The thunder and the singing of the birds are but his voice, and carven by his power, rocks are his written words. All pathways by his feet are worn. His strong heart stirs the ever-beaten sea. His crown of thorns is twined with every thorn. His cross is every tree.
Thomas Osborne Davis, writing in the early 1800s, you may be familiar with his poem, The Girl I Left Behind Me, which is the classic fiddle tune used as a martial marching tune, has written many a poem, and one of them is The West's Asleep. When all besides a vigil keep, the West's asleep, the West's asleep. Alas, and well may Erin weep, when Connaught lies in slumber deep. Their lake and plain smile fair and free, mid rocks, their guardian chivalry. Sing, oh, let men learn liberty from crashing wind and lashing sea. That chainless wave and lovely land freedom and nationhood demand. Be sure the great God never planned for slumbering slaves a home so grand. And long a brave and haughty race honored and sentineled the place. Sing, oh, not even their son's disgrace can quite destroy their glory's trace. For often in O'Connor's van to triumph dashed each Connaught clan, and fleet as deer the Normans ran through Corleo's Pass and Ardrahan, and later times saw deeds as brave, and glory guards Clanrickard's grave. Sing, oh, they died their land to save at Orum's slope and Shannon's wave. And if, when all a vigil keep, the West's asleep, the West's asleep, alas, and well may Erin weep, that Connaught lies in slumber deep. But hark, some voice like thunder spake, the West's awake, the West's awake. Sing, oh, hurrah, let England quake, we'll watch till death for Erin's sake.
The great 20th century poet Louis MacNeice from the north of Ireland was known for writing in irony. And this is one of his more famous pieces. It's simply called Dublin, and his observations of the city. Grey brick upon brick, declamatory bronze on somber pedestals. O'Connell, Grattan, Moore. And the brewery tugs and the swans on the balustraded stream, and the bare bones of a fanlight o'er a hungry door, and the air is soft upon the cheek. And porter running from the taps, with a head of yellow cream, and Nelson on his pillar, watching his world collapse. This was never my town. I was not born or bred, nor schooled here, and she will not have me alive or dead. But yet she holds my mind with her seedy elegance, with her gentle veils of rain, and all her ghosts that walk, and all that hide behind her Georgian facades, The cat calls in the pain, the glamour of her squalor, the bravado of her talk. The lights jig in the river with a concertina movement, and the sun comes up in the morning like barley sugar on the water, and the mist on the Wicklow hills is close as the peasantry were to the landlord, as the Irish to the Anglo-Irish, as the killer is close one moment to the man he kills, or as the moment itself is close to the next moment. She is not an Irish town. She's not English, historic with guns and vermin and the gold renown of a fragment of church Latin, of an oratorical phrase. But oh, the days are soft, soft enough to forget the lessons better learnt, the bullet on the wet streets, the crooked deal, the steel behind the laugh, the four courts burnt. Fort of the Dane, garrison of the Saxon, Augustan capital of a Gaelic nation, appropriating all the alien brought. You give me time for thought, and by a juggler's trick, you poise the toppling hour. A grayness run to flower, gray stone, gray water, and brick upon gray brick.
Thank you so much to Hanley, to Tom and Cindy for reading those beautiful poems. It's great to be transported back to those wonderful words. And we're going to continue now with Andy Naughton's going to have a song for us. And Andy has contributed a couple songs that are available on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page, but it's wonderful to have Andy here live. So Andy, I'll turn it over to you now.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Well, I'd like to start off by saying a big thanks to Jim and Elizabeth and all the other volunteers who put this together, especially for the rest of us techno-Egypts that are out there. So thanks a lot, Ramil Magagot. And I'll sing a song called the West Rutland Marble Bond. It's a song written by a fellow from the county Tipperary who immigrated to Vermont.
The video's not.
Oh, I gotta set my video on. Oh, come on. No, I don't know why my video isn't on, but I'll go in.
We can hear you.
You can
well.
hear me okay? All right, so the West Rutland Marble Bond, written by a fellow from the county Tipperary named James Carney, who immigrated to Vermont in the 1850s and worked in the marble quarries around West Rutland, Vermont, and wrote a song called the West Rutland Marble Bond, the white marble of West Rutland. And probably many of you have heard this before, but maybe you haven't. But either way, you'll hear it now. Oh, come all ye good people, attend a while, and a story I'll unfold. The truth I'll tell you'll know right well, as I was plainly told. For an hour a day it will be your pay, go work at her be done. It's a weary life to be pleasing a wife and cutting the marble bond. When I came to this state, it was very late, about 9 in the afternoon. Oh, the night being dark and me being strange, I knew not where to roam. I boarded a train to West Rutland I came, where the steam mills always sun. That beautiful stone, the like never was known, they call the marble bond. Now the Irish boys, they fear no noise, they'll stand on the rocks so brave, and the sound of their drill will never be still, but echoing in your ear. They'll stand in line like the wild geese flying, and never be scolding or John. They're the very best boys that ever wore frieze for chipping out the marble bond. Now Sheldon has a ledge, it lies to the north, the deepest all around. And Parker has a ledge that lies to the south, the latest that has been found. Oh, but Sherman has a ledge in the midst of them both, the like of it never was known. Nothing can compare, save the snow from the air, to that beautiful marble stone. For when you're dead and in your grave, with a stone at your head and feet, your parents will lament and be discontent, and bitterly mourn and weep. 'Twill be your doom to lie 'neath the tomb, with a cross neatly drawn, your name enrolled, and prayers for your soul engraven on the marble bond. Oh, there is one man, his name's John Gill, I must not forget to praise. He's working hard from morn till night, he never stands to ease. The sound of his sledge on an iron wedge, it's like a shot when the trigger is drawn. He's the best in the state for his size and weight, at chipping out the marble bond. Now my song I lend success to each friend that ever left the Shamrock shore. May you live in peace with the Yankee race, and each other dearly adore. For we're free in the land of liberty, where no tyranny o'er us is drawn. We'll sit at our ease and sing the praise of the West Rutland Marble Bond. Cymar mil maiga, Sinead.
Thank you, Andy. That was beautiful. I've never heard that before. What a great historical connection with Vermont and Ireland. So I really appreciated that, although some other people might have heard it. I think it was perfectly fitting for tonight. So I want to thank you for that. And we're going to go back to a video clip. We've been really enjoying these Ceilidh dances. So you might want to get up. This would be a good time in the program to get up if you want to move around. We're going to hear from Gerlisa Garrett from the Garrett School of Irish Dance, who's going to give us the last of the 4 Kitchen Ceilidh dance instruction videos. So as I said, your cameras are off and you're muted. So dance like no one can see you and really enjoy this lesson from Gerlisa.
Hello and welcome back to Kitchen Ceilidh. This is the final part of our series in partnership with the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival. My name is Gerlisa Garrett. I run the Garrett School of Irish Dance, and together with the festival, we are bringing you a series of videos on Ceilidh footwork. Normally, we host a great community Ceilidh every March with live music and dancing and great celebrations, but of course, we can't do that this year. So instead, we are bringing you these short little segments teaching you some of the basic footwork that you would need to participate in a ceilidh dance. Of course, you don't need to know any of the footwork to participate in a ceilidh. Of course, you're welcome, even if you have no experience at all. But if you're looking for a project during this pandemic era, this might be a good one. So far we've covered threes, sevens, and the basic jig step. Today we're going to cover jig sevens. So I already taught you how to do sevens to real music, R-E-E-L music. It is also actual music though. So we've already covered real sevens, and today we're going to cover jig sevens because jig music is done in different timing than real music. The time signature is different, and so the rhythm of the music is different. So you can't do the exact same steps and have it have the same effect. So jig sevens are similar to real sevens, but they also incorporate an element of the basic jig step that you learned in the last segment. So we're gonna mix and match and combine those two things together to create our jig sevens. So if you will recall, sevens are the footwork that move you sideways. They're also in fact sometimes called the side step because they bring you to the side. And jig sevens start the same way that real sevens do. So if you saw that video, you're already a step ahead. So you're gonna go hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so remember that our sevens, we have this placeholder beat where you're going to either hop, or if you're not hopping today, you can just lift to hold the place for the first beat. So lift, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember that with sevens, you're stepping open, close, open, close, open, close. Of course, it's difficult for me to show you in my very tiny kitchen. Hopefully you have a little bit more space where you are right now, but even if you don't, we're still gonna make it work. So you have lift, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and remember the other key piece of sevens is that whatever direction you're traveling, that's the foot that should be in front. So in this case, if you're traveling to the right, your right leg is in front, and your right leg is stepping open on the even beats and closed on the odd beats. So you have hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? Now, I was just counting those in real time, but the difference is that in a jig, the movements are a little bit syncopated. So it would sound more like this. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So instead of keeping a really even beat where every step gets the same amount of time, hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we have this syncopation where the downbeat or the even beat is getting a little bit more emphasis. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, but the footwork is exactly the same for that section. So let's try that again. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and again, if you want to hop, you would just literally add a hop where I'm saying it. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is where jig sevens get different from real sevens. Instead of doing back 2, 3, back 2, 3, which is what we do in real sevens, we are going to do the rising step, which you learned in the previous segment on the basic jig step. So you're here, hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now you're gonna do the rising step, which if you'll recall, goes like this. Hop up, hop back, 2, 3, 4. Again, goes like this. Hop up, hop back, 2, 3, 4. So your jig sevens from the top go hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hop up, hop back, 2, 3, 4. Okay, from the back, 7, 8, hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hop up, hop back, 2, 3, 4. Great. Now, probably the trickiest part of jig sevens is switching so that you're going back in the other direction. Remember, sevens take us out and then back usually. So let's try the beginning again and I'll show you how to get back home. Ready? Here you go. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hop up, hop back, 2, 3, 4. Now, you need to get your left leg in front because we're traveling left on the way home, and so your left leg needs to be in front. This is a place where you could use the two-footed switch jump that I showed you in the Real Sevens video. It's a great place for it if you feel like hopping. So you could go, if your right leg's in front, you could go jump, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and up and back 2, 3, 4 to get you home. So again, that's just, you're jumping off of both feet and you're just switching your feet in the air. Switch, switch. Okay, you're just doing one. So if your right foot's in front and you want to go left to get home, you would just switch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you don't want to hop, you get to kind of make up what you want to do in this corner, remembering that you need to get your right foot behind, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so let's experiment and see what works for you if you don't want to hop. You could go hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and up and back 2, 3, 4. Back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up and back 2, 3, 4. So I literally just put my heel down as a placeholder there and went over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just switched my feet. Right, so again, if you're just at a community Kaylee like the kind that we host, it really doesn't matter what your feet are doing, particularly not if you can get your body in the right place. That's really the most important part. So any adaptation you want to make there, if you're not hopping, is fine. Okay, but the key piece is, if you're trying to get the footwork right, is that you want to be stepping forward with your left foot on the even beats. So whatever you do to get from here to here on 2, right? Up and back 2, 3, 4. Go back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up and back 2, 3, 4. And again, just like Real Sevens, you could also do this to the left. You would just reverse your legs. Again, I can't show you the whole sequence in my very tiny kitchen, but it would go left 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and up and back 2, 3, 4. Go back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up and back 2, 3, 4. Okay? The thing that I've just been showing you with the no hops, that's not an official way to do jig sevens, but again, Kaylee, it really doesn't matter. I just want you to do what's best for your legs. If you were gonna hop, the two-footed jump is a great way to go, and that is a little bit more official. So let's try it with the hops, and then we'll try it to music. So we're gonna go a little bit faster, because remember, jig music is quite peppy usually, so we're gonna slowly work our way up to speed here. 5, 6, 7, 8. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and rising step. Go back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, rising step, and back 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try that one more time, and then we'll try it to music. 6, here you go. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and up and back 2, 3, 4. Go back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and up and back 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try it to music. It's gonna be fast, but I believe in you. I also believe that you could go back and rewind and rewatch and practice if you wanted to. No one will know. Here we go. I'll try it without the hops first. Ready? 5, 6, here you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up, back 2, 3, 4. Back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up, back 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try it with the hops. Big finish, here we go. 6, 7, here you go. Hop, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rising step. Back 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rising step. Hey. All right, so those are your jig sevens, and with that, if you've seen all 4 of our little segments here, you have the footwork that you need to do almost every single Kaylee dance. Just with those pieces. You can mix and match them together in a couple of occasions where you might need just the rising step by itself, or variations on the basic jig step in a couple of places, but all of those steps together would stand you in really good stead to do some proper footwork at a Kaylee if you wanted to. Again, at our Kayleys, we welcome everyone, whether you have experience or not, and I dearly wish that soon we will see you all at another Burlington Irish Heritage Festival, Garrett School of Irish Dance, Community Kaylee. Until then, please be well, stay well, and take care of each other. We'll see you soon.
So we don't just get performances, we get some interactive time too. Really appreciate that from Lisa Garrett and Garrett School of Irish Dance. And we'll continue tonight. We have some more live performers. We saw Yazi Zeichner earlier with her siblings, and now we get you live in person. So thanks so much for coming out for a second time. And we look forward to this. Can I ask you one quick question, Yazi, before you start? There was a question from the gallery.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it was just kind of what was your first connection with Irish music or traditional music in general? Like, how did you get started doing this?
Yeah. My first connection with traditional music would have been when my younger sister, Luli, who you saw playing harp in the video, she started taking clawhammer banjo lessons at the Summit School of Traditional Music and Culture in Vermont. And so then my siblings and I all got connected to the Summit School and met Benedict Kohler and Hilary Farrington there with the repertoire class that they were teaching. And we got sucked into the world of Irish music.
Yeah, it's hard to resist.
Yes.
Well, that's wonderful. Well, thanks for sharing that with us and sharing your beautiful music as well.
You're welcome. I thought that I would sing a song and also play a tune. So the song that I am going to sing is called The Dark Island, and it has a chorus. So if you catch on, please do sing along. And it's just a song about longing for home and for Ireland specifically, but I can apply this song to many different situations. The Dark Island, that term refers to Ireland. In the years long gone by, when I first left my home, I was young and I wanted the wide world to roam. But now I am older and wiser, you see. That lovely dark island is calling to me. Though I've wandered away from the land of my birth and been roaming around to the ends of the earth, still my heart is at home in that land far away. That lovely dark island where memories stray. With a sorrowful heart, I look back o'er the years. And when I think on that island, my eyes fill with tears. Once again, then I long for that land far away. That lovely dark island where memories stray. I'm forgetting a verse here. One day I'll return to that far distant shore, and from my dark island I'll wander no more. Till the day that I die, I will no longer roam. That lovely dark island will be my last home. Though I've wandered and been roaming around to the ends of the earth. Still my heart is at home in that land far away. That lovely dark island where memories stray. Although I've wandered away from the land of my birth and been roaming around to the ends of the earth, still my heart is at home in that land far away. That lovely dark island where memories stray. There you go. Got a little ahead of myself there in the middle of the song. So I just thought I would play a march. This is one of my favorite marches. I don't know that many marches actually, but this one is a kind of peculiar. It's called The Races of Ballyhooly, and it apparently dates, it's the tune of a song which dates back to the 1800s and commemorates the killing of a bunch of anti-tithe protesters in Ireland in the 1830s. So here is the march. So there's your march, and I just want to say thank you to all of the organizers of the festival. I know it takes a lot of effort to pull all these things together online into a smoothly working festival. So good job.
Thank you, Yazi. This is why we do it, though, so we can hear that lovely music. So thanks so much for showing up and being with us tonight. Great, and we're gonna hear from Sarah Blair, another fiddler, right now via some videos that Sarah sent to us. She was here last night live with the Fiddleheads, helping out the Young Tradition Vermont group accompany Greg Delanty's poetry, and tonight she's sent us some videos that we can watch and hear Sarah's beautiful playing as well.
Hi, I'm going to play 3 jigs for you. The first one is called Australian Waters, and the second one is called the Blackthorn Stick, and the third one is called Josie's Visit, and it was composed by the great Brendan Tonra. Here's a couple of tunes, reels. They're kind of a famous pair associated with County Kerry. It's the Banks of the Island and the Humors of Scartaglen. 3 jigs. The first one is called the Dooney Rock, composed by Sean Ryan, and the second one is called the Traditional Jig, composed by Ed Reevy, and the third one is called The Girl from the Big House.
Thank you, Sarah. Remotely, that was pre-recorded music, but beautiful fiddle tunes from Sarah Blair. And we have Karen McCadden here, who's going to read some poetry to us. And we're very happy, Karen, for you joining us. And I'm sorry that I got us out of order.
Oh, it's fine. We all have to roll with everything these days, right? It's a lot to organize. Thanks for having me. Shall I just start then?
Yeah, I'll just turn it over to you. We just met virtually, so this is our first
right.
time.
It's nice to meet you. I'm coming to you from South Burlington, and I am an Irish citizen. I'll just say a bit about the poems I'm going to read and what brought me to them. I was raised in a family with my grandparents and my father's parents both came over when they were in their 20s, and never wanted to tell us about Ireland and wanted us to just forget about it. and just be Americans, wanted us to assimilate. And I spent my whole life defying that, trying to find out about where I was from. And when the internet was invented with such an uncommon last name, I was able to connect with people that were my family in Ireland. And so now every summer, when I can, when it's not a pandemic, I go stay on my grandfather's farm, where my father's first cousin still farms sheep. And it's just been an amazing experience. So I wrote this book. It's called American Wake. And it's got a bunch of poems about Ireland in it. It's also just got poems about home. You know, the whole book is about home and how what home means, and when homes get broken and when ties get severed, how do we make our way back, and how do we redefine home? So thanks for having me. I'm going to read a few poems from this book, and thanks everyone for the beautiful music and dancing, and thanks Jim for organizing, and all the other organizers too. Thank you so much. This first poem I'm going to read is about the Mary Robinson. She was the president of Ireland, and she was the first person to put a candle in the window of her residence in Ireland to remind the diaspora that they were welcome home, that the candle would show them the way home in the dark. And that was always very moving to me as a younger adult. And so this poem is called In the Window at Oris on Uachtaráin, which is the name of the house that she lived in, for Mary Robinson. When I was tall enough to reach the kitchen pull chain light switch, I figured it was time for me to know where we came from. Wished your blether, she laughed. In her throat, a hand of cards she wouldn't play. The jar of pennies, sleeping aunties, I stacked on the plastic tablecloth while I ate lemon cake at Sunday dinner, and she bustled in a navy blue dress, the paragon of American grandmotherhood. I, a good girl, who later wouldn't listen. First, I was a farm wife who kept a house of secrets. I was from nowhere. I failed and failed to make my way. What did I know of home? I say sometimes now, as a way of lying to myself. I knew and know. And if I am to be honest now, I waited too long to learn to fight, to talk back to myself like a light crowds out the night. I think that's the only intentional rhyme in the whole book. This next poem is called American Wake. And an American Wake, if you don't know, is a tradition when people were leaving Ireland to come to America. The families knew they would never see the person again. It was a death. It was a loss of a family member, and usually a child. And so, like the Irish do with their dead, they would hold a wake at the home for the living person who was leaving. And it had all the trappings of a wake, everything, the wailing, the crying, the games, the drinking, the smoking, the eating, and it was all night long. And then the next day, the family and the village people who loved the person would walk to the boat to say goodbye to the person. They would take them to wherever the place was that the journey would continue from, and then watch them leave. So this is a sonnet called American Wake. And at the beginning, there's a little epigraph that is a poem from over there that says, "The land is too small to serve all, and we must cross the sea." And I think it's from a song in Donegal, which is where my family's from. American Wake. Hold awake for the living, the leaving. Stop the clocks and turn the mirrors. Tell stories, smoke and eat and drink. It was never a question of whether they'd leave, but when. Play games to pass the time, not to check that the dead are dead, but to lift a lesser God. Tell what you've heard about the new world. Later, all you will be able to tell is what you remember. Let the keener loose on the night. Let the house wail. Sing the songs. Let pipes keep evil at bay. Square off with your child and dance. Let the neighbors whose baby was born with a call lend it, a charm against drowning. Give dry cakes for the passage, a box of eggs. Roast frogs, grind them to a powder, and bake into bread to safeguard against fever. Take no shortcuts to the dock. This is it. The bees will tell the other world who's gone. these traditions of making frog bread, or what charms you would give to someone so that they wouldn't drown, and the tradition of telling the bees who's leaving. These are folk traditions that I think are really beautiful because of the way that they embody hope and the idea that we can figure out how to keep our loved ones safe. Let me check the time. Read a couple more. So I was, I'll read two more. My last summer, 2 summers ago now, I went to Ireland with a very good friend, and we went to the Aran Islands. Usually I go straight to Donegal and I stay there, and I stay with my cousin, and I don't do any sightseeing. But I went with a friend to Inisheer, the smallest of the Aran Islands. And this is a poem about Saint Gobnet, who was there, I think, in the 6th century. It's called Nine White Deer, for Sarah. The sea forgives nothing on Inisheer, though I think it might, outnumbered as we are by stones and bees. The campanula suggesting stay, playing their purple bells in the wind. The cell and church stand open to the sky like mouths, and what might be square tombs show their backs. Gobnet ran from her family's fighting to live here in a stone cell no bigger than a rowboat, underground, next to her church, a church so small, we think it's a ruined cottage at first. Barely legible in the grass beside it, the stone outline of another room where the coffee and donuts were served. We laugh. Then shushed by a woman who points through the narrow door at a priest in white robes, his arms held up as if to hold the sky, the church roof gone. We stand with our palms to the stones and listen, feeling the thinness, our eyes welling. We are waved in, given a book, and sound out words in Breton and guess the melody of heureux. Our textbook French barely a guide, not even the carline thistle's gold readying us for the communion we take, the wine we share across time. Halfway back in time until Christ, a vision told Gobnet to leave this place, not to settle until she found a herd of 9 white deer. There she would find her resurrection place. I know how tired she must have been. A double hawthorn tree stands like a mother at the top of the meadow, shark fins and bird bones hung from her branches, skulls tucked in her elbows. I leave a shell at her feet with a prayer for my family, walk out past a square white stone covered in moss and broken shells, where the birds break snails for their meat. And I would like to read a very small poem to close out. It's called In Legany, Donegal. And it's just about, well, you'll know what it's about from hearing the story. It's kind of a gruesome story. I had a great aunt who died from burn wounds. And I was visiting a woman who did, you'll know from the poem, but just to give you a heads up of the subject matter, that that's what this is about. In Legany, Donegal, my little grandaunt had no coat, and it lashed rain in March on the way to school, and the schoolmaster at Four Masters saw her trouble and sent her to stand by the fire. And the cold little girl in the wet dress stood too long and dried the rain and caught fire, everyone running and patting her out. The degree of burns, not anything that survives in this story. No other details, just the rain, no coat, the teacher, the fire patted out, the girl gone home to bed, the girl, the pain. And it was back then, so she died just like the cooper's wife gone missing, or the woman who was burned in a pile of tires down the road a century later, gone, a fire no cleansing, and nothing to do after, but almost get lost in time. A woman I visit saying, no, I don't know anything about your family. No, wait, I do. And I know that's kind of a gruesome little poem, but just this idea that we almost lose our connections by losing stories, and how random it can be to recapture them. So thank you for listening. And again, thanks for having me.
Thank you, Karen. That was wonderful. Thanks for stepping up and just contacting me about that.
I've always wanted to do something with this festival, and I jumped on it this year. So thank you.
I appreciate that, and it's so great for us as many Irish Americans here to feel like that calling and that connection to Ireland. So
yeah, it's nice to find it again.
Yeah, that's great. We'll let Declan step up and I guess we're going to change the tone a little bit here. And Declan has a song for us.
Yeah, ready to rock here. That was wonderful, by the way. I remember drying in front of the fire as a kid. You come in out of the rain, the fire would be there, and what are you going to do? But luckily, we didn't catch fire. So thank you, Karen, for the poetry. So I'm Declan. Grew up in Athlone, in the middle of Ireland. Came over here in 1986 for the summer. Fell in love and forgot to go home, and here I am ever since. So Irish music is full of tragedy and mayhem. And just between famines and starvation and evictions, you wouldn't know whether you'd be coming or going. So I have a song for you here about a human tragedy and a terrible event that prevented a gentleman named, well, of course, Paddy, from getting to work one day. And of course, he had to explain his absence, and you can't just not show up for work. And so he wrote back in the day, before email and text, he wrote a note explaining why he was sick. And this is called The Sick Note. Dear sir, I write this note to you to tell you of me plight. And at the time of writing, I am not a pretty sight. Me body is all black and blue, me face a deathly grey. And I'll write this note to say, while Paddy's not at work today, while working on the 14th floor, some bricks I had to clear. Now to throw them down from such a height was not a good idea. The foreman wasn't very pleased, him being an awkward sod, and he said I'd have to haul them down the ladder in me hod. Now hauling all these bricks by hand, it seemed so awfully slow, so I hoisted up a barrel and secured the rope below. But in my haste to do the job, I was too blind to see that a barrel full of building bricks was heavier than me. So when I untied the rope, the barrel fell like lead, and clinging tightly to the end, I started up instead. I shot up like a rocket till, to my dismay, I found that halfway up I met the bloody barrel coming down. The barrel broke my shoulder blade as to the ground it sped, and when I reached the top, I banged the pulley with me head, still clinging tightly to the rope. From this almighty blow, the barrel spilled out half the bricks, 14 floors below. When the bricks had fallen from the barrel to the floor, I then outweighed the barrel and so started down once more. Still clinging tightly to the rope, I sped towards the ground and landed on the broken bricks that were all scattered round. Lying moaning on the ground, I thought I'd passed the worst, when the barrel hit the pulley wheel and then the bottom burst. A shower of bricks rained down on me, I thought there was no hope. And lapsing to unconsciousness, I let go the bloody rope. The barrel now being heavier, it started down once more and landed flat across me as I lay there on the floor. It broke 3 ribs in my left arm, and all that I can say is I hope you'll understand why Paddy's not at work today. Good night, folks. Happy Paddy's Day.
That's great. Thanks, Declan. That was a blast.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody. Wonderful performances. I'm having a good time here tonight.
Thanks. We're gonna end with our, well, I'm gonna have the last word, of course, a good Irishman. But we're gonna end the video performances with our traditional Céilí ending of a dance by McFadden School of Irish Dance, and they sent us some a brief clip of their dancing. So enjoy that, and then I'll come back for a brief ending. Thank you.
So our first number we're going to do for you today is done in the soft shoes, and it's going to be a real number. We have 4 of our championship dancers, Katie, Ellie, Deirdre, and Daria, and they're going to be performing a very lively dance. So real, you see in a lot of traditional Céilí dances, you'll see some line switching and some clapping. So we're going to welcome our first number, the McFadden Academy of Irish Dance.
What's that? Oh.
Next, we're going to bring to you two of our young ladies and our young gentlemen. They're going to be performing what we call a treble jig or a heavy jig. This dance has been equated to actually machine guns because it is so very loud, very strong, very rhythmic. So get ready for some really exciting hard shoe moves. Next, we're going to welcome three of our young ladies, Alexina, Daria, and Gracie, and they're going to perform another hard shoe dance for you. This one is called a hornpipe. This one is also very strong, but it also has a little more of an artistic flair to it. It's more of a da-da-da-da-da, a little more of a sing-songy kind of dance. You're going to see some clicks and some other fast footwork, so we hope you'll enjoy the hornpipe. Now we've come to our finale number. We hope you guys have enjoyed the numbers that we've done so far. This one, we're going to bring the whole crew out, all of our dancers. They're going to perform a lively and fast treble reel. So please feel free to clap along, whether you're watching at home or on YouTube. Irish dancing is just, as the kids told you, it's so infectious and it just brings so much joy to people, the music and the community. Keep on dancing.
This is a very beautiful word.
Oh, sorry, Pat. I'm just trying to get my video back on here. Sorry about that. I'm just doing so well all night until this. Okay, well, thanks, everybody. That was amazing. I really feel like we ended the night like a real Kaylee at Contois Auditorium, like we usually have for the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival. And that was wonderful, lively dance from the McFadden School of Irish Dance. And We've just finished up our festival, and we've had a great 5 days of poetry and history, traditional music and dance from around Vermont, all related to our Irish culture and our shared interest in Irish heritage and culture. It's a different mode than we've used in the past, and we've seen so many talented performers, and we've still had a lot of delightful moments, even though it's not what we're used to doing. If you want to revisit any of these events, they're going to be on our YouTube channel, Burlington Irish Heritage. If you just put that in YouTube, you'll get our channel. And they're also linked to our website, burlingtonirishheritage.org. In terms of upcoming events, we're going to be creating a video celebration of Beltane, which is a Celtic Spring Festival. So keep an eye out for that on our Facebook page. And that's going to be our next event in early May. Thanks again to all the performers, who are too many to name here, but we loved hearing from all of them, keeping this festival alive and this culture and tradition alive. But also for the tireless efforts of the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival Committee, especially Peter Keating, Mary Jo McCarthy, Elizabeth O'Dowd, Elizabeth Schwartz, and Mairead Shields. And finally to Patrick Burke, who took time out on his Saints' Day to host this event and do all the great tech for us. We wouldn't have been able to do it without you. Thanks, Patrick. And finally, if you guys will indulge me, I have one last 1-minute video clip from our Irish language workshop with Michael O'Malley last Saturday, because I think it can highlight an important idea for us.
This is a very beautiful word. You'll hear it 1,000 times in Irish, the word Urim. I did a complete workshop on Urim one time. And Urim is, it's on me. We'd never say I'm sick. You would say sickness is on me. Or you wouldn't say I'm cancery. You would say cancer is upon me. And if it's on you, you don't own it. You can dispose, you can get rid of it. Like I once took a course with Deepak Chopra, and in Ayurvedic medicine, it's the very same thinking. Now keep in mind that the Celts came from Asia 9,000 years ago. They wound up in Europe and so on. So the thinking and the old thinking is very, very Eastern, if you will. All of the emotions are not with you. They're all and the feelings. You never own them. They're over there, and you can always get rid of them. And so you don't own them. So it's a lovely, lovely, wonderful thought, for you. So nothing is permanent. Whatever happens is not permanent. You can get rid of it. And it's lovely.
So I'd like to close with that sentiment from the Irish language, which is just such a beautiful construction that can help us recognize that things as they are right now are not how they're going to be permanently. So right now, sickness is with us in the form of COVID, but that isn't permanent. So soon enough, we're going to be together. We'll be dancing, singing, laughing, enjoying each other's company for some good crack. So I want to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day, and we'll see you soon. Sláinte.